Imagine being completely unfazed when someone insults you, calm when your plans fall apart, focused when chaos erupts around you, not because you're emotionless, but because you've mastered them. Visual clips of someone walking calmly through crowds, ignoring arguments, silent strength scenes, etc. Welcome to Stoic Mastery, the sanctuary for minds that refuse to be controlled by anything or anyone. Here, we turn chaos into clarity and weakness into power using ancient wisdom and modern psychology. If you're on a mission to become unshakable, calm under pressure, and impossible to manipulate, subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on notifications, because what you're about to hear will rewire how you deal with people permanently. Section 1. The Inner Citadel Rule. Control what you can. Let me tell you something most people never realize until it's too late. You don't get angry because of what people do. You get angry because you gave them permission to disturb your peace. This is where we begin, with the first daily habit that will make you emotionally untouchable, the inner citadel. The Stoics believed that inside every one of us is a fortress, a mental stronghold that no one can enter unless we open the gates. Marcus Aurelius, a literal Roman emperor surrounded by betrayal, death, and war, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just a quote, it's your shield, your armor. And building this inner citadel starts the moment you wake up. Morning mental recalibration. Each morning, before scrolling, before checking messages, ask yourself, what's actually within my control today? Only 3 things: your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. That's it. Everything else, traffic, rude people, your boss's mood, the algorithm, is noise. It's background. It's not you. So you center yourself. You prime your mind to ignore what doesn't matter and focus on what you can shape. This mental reset trains your mind to stop reacting and start choosing. The dark psychology side. Manipulators feed on reaction. Let's shift gears. From the perspective of dark psychology, angry people are easy prey. They're readable, predictable, weak. A skilled manipulator only needs one thing from you, an emotional leak. They'll poke, mock, bait, and guilt trip, not because they hate you, but because they need your reaction to validate their control. When you react emotionally, when you lash out, defend, or try to explain, you just handed them your power, like a pawn walking into the enemy's hands. But here's the twist. When you respond with stillness, with neutrality, with silence, you flip the power dynamic. Now they're confused, off balance. They can't read you. You've become what dark psychologists fear: unmovable, unbothered. The daily habit, reaction review. At night, you perform a short ritual, the reaction review. Ask yourself, who got to me today? Why did I allow them to? Was that moment worth my peace? Write it down, not on your phone, with a pen, in a journal. When you do this consistently, you start catching triggers before they detonate. Your awareness increases. Your emotional discipline sharpens. This habit turns you from a reactor into a strategist. Now, if you're serious about building your inner citadel, drop this in the comments right now. I am my own fortress. Let the world know. You're no longer letting people live rent-free in your mind. And if this resonates with you, smash that like button right now. You're not just watching a video, you're rewiring your entire mindset. Section 2, the silence weapon. Why saying less is power. Here's a harsh truth. Every word you speak is either a weapon or a weakness. And most people, they're handing out ammunition to the world without even realizing it. You want to become untouchable, emotionally bulletproof? Then you need to master one of the most underestimated tools of personal power: silence. Not passive silence, not fearful silence, but strategic, stoic, surgical silence, the kind that rattles manipulators and earns respect without a single word. Stoic principle: say only what's essential. Epictetus said, "Let silence be your goal for the most part. Say only what is necessary and in few words." Why? Because when you speak less, you give yourself space to think, maintain control of the frame, become unreadable, a major threat to anyone who tries to manipulate. Talking too much is a modern addiction. people feel this compulsive need to fill every silence, explain every move, defend every opinion. But here's what they don't realize. The more you talk, the more predictable you become. And predictability is vulnerability. Dark psychology, insight, silence, a psychological power. Let's break this down with a little dark psychology. When someone is trying to dominate a conversation, interrupting, provoking, or interrogating you, your instinct is to respond, explain, clarify, but this is exactly what they want, because while you're talking, they're studying, calculating, profiling you, your tone, your defensiveness, your insecurities. But when you answer with a calm pause, with silence, or with short, intentional replies, you disrupt their rhythm, prevent emotional leakage, force them to confront their own discomfort. They begin to overthink, they start reacting, and that's when you take control. This is the law of psychological asymmetry. The one who stays silent longest holds the power longest. Daily habit, the 3-second rule. Here's the daily habit you build to weaponize this, the 3-second rule. Every time someone says something triggering, offensive, or manipulative, you pause for 3 full seconds. Let the silence hang in the air. Let the weight of their words settle. Then, if it's worth speaking, speak slowly, clearly. Few words. If not, let silence be your full reply. You'll notice something. People start respecting you more, even fearing you a little. Not because you're aggressive, but because you're in command. Drop this in the comments right now if you're claiming silence as your weapon. Silence is my strength. Let others waste breath. You save your energy for strategy. And if you haven't already, hit that like button right now. Every like helps this message reach someone still trapped in emotional reactivity. Stay with me, because next we're diving into one of the most powerful Stoic mental exercises to stop getting triggered before it even starts. Section 3. Mental rehearsal. Diffuse triggers before they happen. Let me ask you something. Why do elite soldiers train every single day, even when there's no war? Because when chaos arrives, they don't want to react. They want to respond. With calm, with clarity, and with complete control. It's the same with your emotions. If you want to stop getting angry, offended, or thrown off by life, you must train your mind before the battle begins. That's where this next daily habit comes in, mental rehearsal. Stoic technique, premeditatio malorum. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Every morning, the Stoics would imagine worst-case scenarios before they happened. What if someone insults me today? What if I get delayed, ignored, disrespected? What if everything goes wrong? But they didn't do this to stress themselves out. They did it to become untriggerable, because when you've already seen the punch coming, it doesn't knock you down. Your mind needs a drill, not a pep talk. Here's what most people do when they try to stay calm. They wait until something happens, then they try to manage their emotions. Too late. Anger has already hijacked the body. Cortisol's up. Blood's rushing, logic's gone. Now you're reacting, not thinking. But if you mentally rehearse difficult situations before they happen, something powerful occurs. You activate what psychologists call cognitive inoculation. You're training your nervous system to remain stable under stress. You're building emotional muscle memory. So when reality hits you with betrayal, insult, or disrespect, you're not shocked. You're ready. And your silence becomes terrifying. Daily habit, 5-minute Stoic visualization. Here's how you make this real. Every morning, right after you wake up, sit still for 5 minutes. Visualize your day ahead, and then deliberately imagine someone cutting you off in traffic, a coworker disrespecting you, a plan falling apart, a friend letting you down. Now, rehearse your calm response. No anger, no panic, just presence, just poise. Say to yourself, I expected this, I trained for this, I remain unmoved. This isn't pessimism, it's preparation. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't get thrown. You throw others off by staying calm. Drop this in the comments right now if you're training your mind like a warrior. I am calm before the storm. Let the world know. Your reactions are now rehearsed, refined, and lethal. And hey, if you're finding value in this, tap that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds and helps this message find more people ready to master themselves. Coming up next is where things get even deeper. We're about to explore how to understand people without absorbing their emotions, a powerful habit called cold empathy. Section 4, Cold Empathy, Understanding Without Absorbing Emotion. Let's get one thing clear. You don't have to be cold-hearted to stay in control, but you do need to stay cold-minded. This is where most people get it wrong. They think being empathetic means absorbing other people's emotions. They think being a good person means becoming an emotional sponge for the chaos, pain, and drama around them. But here's the hard truth. If you absorb everything, you control nothing. And that's why we now introduce a deadly effective Stoic habit, something I call cold empathy. What is cold empathy? Cold empathy is the ability to understand someone's emotions without becoming infected by them. It's the mental skill of observing another person's behavior, decoding their motives, even feeling for their pain, without becoming emotionally entangled in it. And it's powerful for one reason. It gives you clarity without cost. You see the manipulation, you see the suffering, you even see their insecurity beneath the anger. But you don't get pulled into it. You observe, you interpret, you stay detached, just like a general surveying the battlefield, not running into the chaos emotionally. Why, this is both Stoic and psychologically dangerous in a good way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." That applies directly here. The ability to feel for someone without feeling like them, that's Stoic empathy. And it's a psychological advantage. In dark psychology, emotional mirroring is a manipulation tactic. People will subconsciously try to get you to match their energy, their anger, fear, sadness, or confusion. Why? Because if they can pull you into the same emotional state, they can control the conversation. And you. But when you remain calm in the face of someone else's storm, something flips. You become the dominant emotional energy in the room. And people either rise to meet your level or they get exposed. The daily habit, the observer mode, drill. To develop cold empathy, do this daily. At least once per day, when someone's venting, angry, or emotional, don't respond. Don't nod out of politeness. Just observe silently for 30 full seconds. While doing so, ask yourself 3 questions. What are they really trying to get from me? Is their emotion genuine or manipulative? What would a calm, strategic response look like? This mental drill trains your mind to analyze instead of absorb. You're not becoming robotic. You're becoming resilient. A Stoic observer who feels deeply but never drowns in other people's emotions. Drop this in the comments right now if you're switching into observer mode. I feel everything. I absorb nothing. And if you've ever let someone else's emotions hijack your peace, like this video. And more importantly, start practicing cold empathy today. It's not just self-protection. It's emotional warfare mastery. Up next is one of the coldest, most powerful daily habits in this entire series. It's how to stop caring about things strategically, not recklessly. We're calling it toxic detachment. Section 5, Toxic Detachment, the dark art of not caring strategically. Let me tell you something that might sound harsh, but if you want peace, you're going to have to stop caring about most things, not because you're heartless, but because you're calculated. Welcome to the next level of emotional control. Toxic detachment, the dark art of not caring strategically. What is toxic detachment? Toxic detachment is the deliberate practice of letting go of things that don't serve your purpose, even when society tells you that you should care. It's about refusing to bleed for things that don't bleed for you. It's not apathy, it's precision. And it's one of the most powerful habits you can develop if you want to become emotionally unshakable. Because here's the truth. Most people aren't burned out because they care too little. They're burned out because they care about everything. They care what strangers think. They care about drama that doesn't involve them. They care about being liked. validated, praised. And every time they care, they hand out another piece of their power for free. The Stoic code of selective care. The Stoics had a savage principle. Care only about what you control. Ignore the rest. It is nothing to you. Let that sink in. You don't have to care about their opinions. You don't have to care about the chaos. You don't even have to care about winning every argument. You only have to care about your response, your integrity, and your mission. Everything else, delete it from your emotional budget. The dark psychology twist. Caring is currency. Understand this. In dark psychology, caring is currency. The more you care, the more people can manipulate you. The more you invest emotionally, the more leverage others have. They'll weaponize your empathy, exploit your sense of fairness, use your desire to be understood against you. But when you practice toxic detachment, you flip the script. You respond with phrases like, "That's interesting. Noted. I'll think about it." And then you do nothing. They can't guilt you. They can't bait you because they're pulling on a rope. And you've dropped the other end. You've chosen peace over performance. Daily habit. The emotional filter exercise. Each morning ask yourself, what am I caring about today that I don't need to? Who's getting access to my emotions that hasn't earned it? Where can I strategically detach, not to escape, but to evolve? Write down one thing you're going to stop giving energy to. It could be a toxic person, an old grudge, an obsession with proving yourself. Then mentally cross it out, literally visualize it burning in your mind, and move through your day unbothered. Drop this in the comments if you're reclaiming your emotional power. I care selectively. I protect my peace violently. And if this is helping you become mentally sharper and emotionally freer, hit that like button right now. It fuels this mission and spreads Stoic mastery to those who need it. Next, we're about to turn one of the most explosive emotions, anger, into fuel for growth, clarity, and dominance. It's not about suppressing anger, it's about transmuting it. Section 6, Emotional Transmutation, Turning Anger into Strategy. Let's get one thing straight. Anger is not your enemy. Undirected anger is. The goal isn't to never feel anger, that's delusion. The goal is to become the kind of person who turns every spark of anger into a weapon of purpose. This is the principle of emotional transmutation, the Stoic art of harnessing powerful emotions and converting them into fuel for action, not destruction. Anger is energy, misused or mastered. Think about it. What happens when you get angry? Your heart rate spikes, your mind sharpens, your body prepares for battle. Now imagine that power, that fire, being directed like a laser into your goals, your discipline, your clarity. That's what Marcus Aurelius did. That's what every Stoic did. They didn't suppress emotion, they transmuted it. He wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Translation, when you react blindly, you lose. But when you redirect, you dominate. The dark psychology view. Emotional predictability, weakness. Here's how manipulators, narcissists, and energy leeches win. They don't need to defeat you, they just need to trigger you. If your emotions are reactive, they control the timeline. They push and you flinch. They insult and you defend. They ghost you and you spiral. But when you take that anger and hold it, dissect it, study it, refocus it, you become psychologically dangerous. Because now your rage isn't random, it's strategic. You don't explode, you execute. The Stoic way: pause, channel, strike. There's a process here. Pause. When you feel the fire rise, stop. Don't speak, don't post, don't react. Name it. Say to yourself, this is anger, but I am not anger. This creates separation, and separation gives you leverage. Redirect. Ask, where does this energy belong instead? The gym? That unfinished project? A boundary you need to set? Turn the attack inward, not to punish yourself, but to fuel progress. You don't punch walls, you punch weakness and build strength. Daily habit, the transmutation. Trigger. Here's how you train this daily. Each time something irritates you, before reacting, write it down. One sentence, one emotion, one situation. Then below it, write the question, what will I do with this energy instead? Maybe you do 20 push-ups. Maybe you finish a task you've been avoiding. Maybe you study, train, or create something useful. That tiny redirect turns emotion into momentum. And that's the difference between staying stuck and leveling up. Drop this in the comments if you're ready to turn fire into focus. I turn my rage into results. Your anger is not weakness. Your reaction is. Like this video, if you've ever felt out of control and are ready to flip the script, you're not here to suppress your emotions, you're here to weaponize them. Now, we've covered your mind, your habits, and your emotional energy, but there's one final piece. The exit mindset, the art of walking away and never looking back. Because sometimes the ultimate power isn't fighting, it's disappearing. Section 7. The exit mindset. Walking away without a word. Let me leave you with a brutal truth. Power isn't always in confrontation. Sometimes it's in the silence that follows your exit. If you've made it this far, you've already learned how to control your emotions, filter your energy, and transmute your anger. But here's the final weapon in your arsenal. The exit mindset. It's the ability to walk away, without noise, without explanation, without permission, and never look back. The Stoic law of loss. If it costs you peace, it's too expensive. The Stoics were ruthless about this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Translation: if a person, situation, or environment blocks your growth, you don't need to fix it. You walk around it. You rise above it. Or, when necessary, you walk away from it. Without begging, without drama, without resentment, just a silent exit and an upgrade in peace. Dark psychology. Insight. The walkaway is power. In dark psychology, one of the most unsettling moves is called the emotional vanish. When you remove yourself without a trace, giving the other person no emotional closure, no reaction, no confirmation. It disturbs them, it forces reflection, and it reclaims power. Why? Because it shows them they don't have access to your nervous system anymore. Your energy is not up for negotiation, and nothing is more powerful than the person who has mastered detachment from chaos. Silence is your last word. Most people want the last word. They want to defend, justify, win, not you. You're done explaining. You've upgraded your identity and your boundaries. When you walk away in silence, you say, "I've said all I need to by not saying anything." Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them spiral in your absence. You're not here to be understood by the noise. You're here to be respected by your presence or your absence. Daily habit. Practice micro exits. Start small. Every day, practice one micro exit. Leave a toxic group chat on mute. Stop defending yourself in unnecessary debates. Detach from the need to explain your choices. You don't owe clarity to anyone who benefits from your confusion. And over time, you'll train your nervous system to walk away from chaos like a warrior walking off a battlefield. Calm, intact, undefeated. Drop this in the comments right now if you've had enough of people draining your energy. I walk away to protect my throne. And if you've been feeling the weight of staying too long where you don't belong, like this video right now and release yourself. You don't have to slam the door. You just have to disappear through it. Final words from Stoic Mastery. You've just learned 7 powerful daily habits rooted in Stoicism and sharpened by dark psychology. Habits that make you calm, unshakable, untouchable. Morning armor. Start with Stoic grounding. Detachment. From outcome, emotional immunity. Mental rehearsal. Diffuse triggers in advance. Cold empathy. Understand without absorbing toxic detachment, not caring strategically. Emotional transmutation. Rage into results. Exit mindset. Walking away like a god. These aren't tricks. They're the foundations of inner mastery and outer dominance. So here's your final command. Like the video, Subscribe to Stoic Mastery. Turn on notifications so you never miss a tool that sharpens your mind. And one last time, drop this in the comments if you're claiming your emotional freedom starting today. I am a storm in stillness, because true power is always quiet. Ready for the next level?